Welcome back to How to Write Effective Introductory Paragraphs. Now we're moving on to historical statements. These are things that include phrases such as since the beginning of time, for hundreds of years, for decades, always, and usually. Historical statements are broad, sweeping things that you say in order to introduce your topic. This is not the most effective way to write, however, it is easy to use for expository essays. For example, since the beginning of mankind, we have gazed at the heavens and wondered about the stars above. Well, at this point, you could start an essay about the Mayas and their knowledge of space. You could start one about the NASA space program, any of those kinds of expository essays. Now it's your turn to practice. Write a historical statement to start a paper about education. Remember to use one of the phrases I mentioned on the last slide, since the beginning of time, always, usually. Feel free to stop the video at any time if you need more time to write. Our next strategy is to use a quote to begin a paper. This is best for expository essays, and it can come from famous people, for example, Gandhi, and I object to violence because when it appears to do good, the good is only temporary. The evil it does is permanent. There are thousands of quotes you could look up online, and I would suggest that you do so. Find 2 or 3 quotes that really mean something to you, and you'll remember them when it's time to write them on the EOC writing test. A quote can also be used for literary essays. They can be something a character says, something someone in your family often says, and I gave you one from a movie. Mama always says life is like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get, which is of course from Forrest Gump. And then you could start writing basically the story of Forrest Gump. You can do the same thing for the story of your life if they're asking you to give a personal narrative. Now it's your turn to practice. In this instance, you're going to do 2 different kinds of introductory first sentences. I want you to write a quote to start an expository essay about peace. Then I want you to write a quote to start a literary essay about your family. Again, remember, expository, explain, literary, literature, telling a story. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time to write. Now moving on to our last strategy for the first sentence of the introductory paragraph, which is the vivid description. A vivid description describes a scene or character utilizing many adjectives and adverbs, and it can include figurative language. The reason you're doing this is to give the reader a mental image. You want them to be able to picture exactly what you're saying. It's very effective for literary essays, but you can also use it for expository writing, and there's an example down below. The lightning cracked, the thunder boomed, and the wind howled in the distance. This gives you a picture in your mind of a storm. And when you can picture things that clearly, then you're interested to read more, which is exactly what you want people to do when they read your introductory paragraph, is to want to read the rest of your paper. Now it's your turn to practice. I want you to write a vivid description to start an expository essay about fear. Once you've done that, you're going to write a vivid description to start a scary story. That would be obviously for a literary essay. Feel free to pause the video if you need extra time.